Well, here it comes.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fourth and Ward. Today, I'm joined by Camden Rowland. Works with my brother Jack. Camden, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right, man. How about you?
Oh, doing good. I feel like the oddball out that I'm not from Williamson, South Carolina, doing this thing remote. Y'all probably could have done it in the same room if y'all wanted to.
Yeah, we should have hooked that up. We should have done it at school, man.
Yeah, we could have just set up a little thing in the coach's office to just went at it.
That'd been the perfect spot for it. So, Camden, you want to just kind of walk us through your little journey with football, the stops you've been, and, we'll kind of dive into it from there.
I got you. So I started off, I played football in the 9th grade. I went to Dixie High School. It's like a little small, little no-name school in Due West, South Carolina, home of the Erskine Flying Fleet. And then I played there for 2 years, and then I transferred and went to BHB High School, which you're familiar with. You coach
Very
there.
familiar, yeah. Spent my first 4 years with the Bears. It was a good time.
Oh, yeah. It's a great place. So I transferred there as a junior. I had to sit out my junior year because, the transfer rule is not like it is now. You can just kind of go wherever you want. But I had to sit out because I didn't, move houses or whatever. So I sat out my junior year, played football there. My senior year, also played baseball, won a state title there in baseball as a senior. And then when I got to BHP, I did like the service learning program or whatever there. It's like helping out with special needs kids. And that's kind of where I figured out, what I wanted to do, like once I graduated. So I attended Clemson. I got in there as equipment manager. Also worked with Jack.
Heck yeah.
Hey, I still got the mat right here. Clemson equipment right there. Little purple
Representing.
See you, EQ, baby. So I did that for about 2 years, worked under Coach Venables there. And then I kind of made a transition as a student assistant on defense to get a little bit more knowledge of the game and learn kind of more from an X's and O's standpoint rather than an equipment standpoint. And that was beneficial, man. It was great. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better experience doing that. So
He went big time on us. Don't
I was
let him
about to
fool
say he got attached to the big name out there, Coach Venables. That's a big name in the game. What was probably the strangest or biggest headache, a request that he might have ever had for you?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was like one thing. I think it was just the attention to detail was just so strenuous. I mean, I've never seen anything like it when it comes to just attention to just certain details. I mean, I remember my first day I was out there and they gave me a map or something. I don't know, it was like my first day. I'm a freshman. I'm working as equipment manager, and I'm supposed to go set up the linebacker station. And I knew like football, I knew enough to like set up a drill.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at like this map, and this thing is just like so complicated. It's a sheet of paper, and I'm kind of like looking sideways and trying to figure it out. So I'm out there just stressing. I'm probably sweating. I'm so stressed. So I finally get it. I'm like, this looks perfect. I was like, he's gonna be proud of this. So he comes out. I had a cone. I'm not kidding you. This cone might have been this far from where it was supposed to be on the diagram. I got it pretty good for that one.
I had to earn your keep a little bit, man. Had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, it was rough, but no, I enjoy it. He was easy to work for. He was a great guy. He gave us a Christmas present every year. He looked after his people. At practice, it was just straight intensity. I mean, I practice like you play, trying to win the game. So it was just straight intensity. I remember like we would do like scout cards on Sundays or whatever, but we would have, it's kind of a little bit different from high school because you don't trade like the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
You have every game that they've played. I mean, you can go, they got it on Exos, you can go and watch every game. So we would draw up, every single play of every single game they've had that season. So when it gets like later in the season, it's like week 10. I mean, you're looking at a stack of, I don't know. I mean, it's just a heavy stack of cards. And he would go through, and I can't remember which week it was. I think it might have been Syracuse that they were like up tempo that week or something like that. But we were running like 125 like scout plays like a practice. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And he was probably quarterbacking like half of them himself. That's the crazy part.
He'd get out there and play scout quarterback.
Yeah, that was his thing. I mean,
I knew he's a pretty in shape guy, but that's bold. Like I'd be too worried about getting hurt.
Well, I feel like, and Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the start of every year, we always had like a new guy to walk on. They're like, "Oh, this guy's it. Like he's the new
Yeah.
scout team quarterback. Like he's gonna make it. Like he's gonna be the guy." He would come out there and run about 3 plays, and he would never ever do it. He would be running receiver the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Like,
In a purple jersey,
God.
blue and purple.
God, you fired. God dang. Talk about attention to detail. Sheesh. Yeah, but I guess that's kind of what sets him apart, right? And that's kind of why, y'all had Clemson had some crazy defenses during that run that he was there. But man, so you get done with Clemson. So what was kind of your journey after that?
So I started off teaching and coaching at Woodmont in Greenville, South Carolina, and it was a 5A school, and I did that for 3 years. And over the course of 3 years, I coached every position on defense. I remember my last year there. I started out D line, and then I transitioned to like inside backers, outside backers, and then I was doing that going into my 3rd year. And like halfway through the season, our DB coach is like, "Hey, peace out. I can't do it. I'm done."
Jeez.
So he left, and I took over DBs like halfway through the season and did that for the remainder of the year. And then after that, Coach Norton ended up getting the job at Palmetto. It's kind of that Clemson connection again. So he ended up, I can't remember if I reached out to him or he reached out to me, but somehow my dad knew his father, and they had like some kind of connection. They knew of each other. And my dad knew that I was kind of interested in wanting to be a defensive coordinator, so he reached out, and I interviewed with him, and he offered me the job on the spot. And so this will be my third. This will be the end of my 2nd year teaching, but next year will be the start of my 3rd year coaching over at Palmetto.
Man, so between starting off at Dixie, which I remember playing them because obviously we were 2A back in the day, so we would kind of schedule them and stuff here and there, try to get an easy win where we could, just because 2A playing a 1A or whatever. But but then you go to BHP, who's like a 3A, always got dudes, right? Year in and year out, they're expecting to go win games. Then you go to Clemson, who's freaking, at the time they're peaking and they're having some runs. I mean, you've kind of been through the gamut. What was, you go from just that small level to some of those larger levels. What were some moments where you're like, yeah, I'm not in Due West anymore?
So when I went to Dixie, they come a long way since then. Like now, I think they got a new weight room and everything. I think they have a locker room now. But
Speaking of that, hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we talked about this on one of our other episodes. And when I was in school, let's see, 2013, 14. Yeah, I'm only a year older than you, right?
Yeah.
But you had been there. So it looked to me like they came out of a greenhouse as their like field house or like locker room.
Dude, that's
Is that true?
Dude, that's literally what I was about to say.
Okay.
It was like,
right.
okay, so you take like a single wide trailer and you cut it in half. And then I don't even know where they got the lockers from, but like it was like the weirdest shaped lockers I've ever seen. It was metal lockers, but they were brown. I'm pretty sure the floor, I can't even remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure the floor was carpet.
We in a locker room?
To some
My
extent.
gosh. Just
And
the sweaty, like just socks and the girdles or whatever. Like, God, it had been cleaned.
it was rough. And I think they had like an air unit, like a window unit that went in there for like the AC. And like summertime, that window unit ain't doing nothing.
No.
I mean, I bet it was like 95 degrees in there, and it was rough. And then whenever I made the move to go back over to BHP, and you seen like the field house and stuff that they have there now, so that was like just like brand new when I got there. So
that was top of the line. I remember when that first came out, it was next level for the schools in the area that we're from to have something like that.
Yeah, so that was like brand new. That was pretty crazy. I would say the fan base was like something different. I mean, and you coach there. Just I don't know, it's football town.
Dude, I always miss the call-in show, man. The Ron Scarborough Friday night call-in show, because every other guy, am I not right? Like, how about them Bears? Like, they're calling in. It might as well be the BHP show because that's who's calling in.
Yeah, every Friday night. That's what they had going on. But it's a football town, kind of similar to Palmetto, Williamston. And then I went to Clemson, and I think it was my first spring there, Jack. We were in I don't even remember what it was called, but it was like the West End Zone. That was it?
Yeah. Before they had the facility, it was just West End Zone.
Yeah. So I did one spring in the West End Zone. Thought it was like the greatest thing ever. I was like, man, they got like coolers and everything up here. They had like a little ping pong table and the little, and they had a pool table and then the little basketball game you could play. But then we were there for what, maybe one spring, and I think we moved into Reeves that summer.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. Moving all of that crap across the street. Oh my God, that was terrible.
That was rough. But then once we moved over to Reeves, it was like that was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. I mean, it was crazy. We were like kids in a candy shop. We didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it was pretty
Man,
sweet.
Jack let me walk around in there right after they kind of first were about to open it up and stuff, and like the miniature hill and just the mannequins, and not even talking about the actual locker rooms and all that. Like it is the putt course. Like I almost forgot about that. Good Lord, like it is another level. Bowling alley. There was a bowling alley, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Golf simulator, a ping pong table was like a gaming station, and there's no telling, Jack, what they've done since we left. I know they had like the little applied science thing that was like small when we were there, but then they added on. It's like 100 yards of wellness, so it's just like a big old building just for like rehabilitation and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, like red light therapy, cryo, like all the crazy. Like, I mean, they were adding stuff even when we went there, so it's insane.
Since y'all were in equipment, and obviously you're at one of the premier schools in the whole country, what's some of the weirdest equipment requests that y'all were getting during those times, or just like made you scratch your head? Like, why would you want this? Why?
I don't know. You got anything, Jack? I really, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think. You probably got something good. I mean, I know you got something petty that just.
What pops up, and this isn't anything specific, but just like the walk-on dude, like I don't know what the number was back then, like the 120th player on the rod, like whatever, would come up for a practice and be asking for, bow bands, a bicep band, the tall socks, what do they call them? Not a shiesty, but just a skull cap, sleeves, everything. And I remember Nick, Nick Rowland, he's the director of equipment now, but at the time I think he was just stepping into the assistant director, whatever. I remember him just looking at this kid like, no, flat face. And the kid's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And Nick's like, no, not happening.
Had to put
that
him in his
happened all the
place.
time. Yeah, I mean, it happened all the time for whatever reason. But do you remember now? This one's kind of cool, kind of crazy. Deshaun Watson, right? When he was there, it was a cold ACC championship game, maybe. And they have hand warmers, right? The belt kind that just go around the waist. They had made this, I guess it was custom. They'd taken his jersey and stitched a hand warmer built into the jersey because he didn't like it dangling. He didn't like it dangling near his waist.
Talk about tailor-made.
Yeah, I mean, this dude, and it had like the special, the ShamWow commercial with Vince, the sketchy guy.
Yeah.
And it had like that material inside, so it just absorbed water different. And I don't know. It was
you can't call Vince from the ShamWow sketchy and not say maybe Deshaun might have been a little sketchy too in hindsight.
Hey,
heck of a football player.
I forgot about that, honestly.
I did too.
Time heals all wounds, man. So shoot. So you get done with Clemson, and then you get back into high school ball and stuff. Was there ever a snap back to reality? Like, all right, how Clemson did it is that's another stratosphere. Obviously, it's going to be a different level of just stuff. But what were some of the biggest headaches you would get from some of the high school guys, equipment wise, if you had any hand in that?
I mean, it was different. Like it was like at Clemson. So like when you're in equipment, you put their jersey on their pads. Like that's just what you do. Like that's what you do. You put it on. You put their pads, and in hindsight, like okay, this guy could do it himself, but that's my job.
Yeah.
When I went back to high school, these kids don't even know how to put their jersey on.
No, dude. No,
it's unbelievable.
Golly, I couldn't imagine like this generation. Everything's built in for them now, right? The girdle's got the thigh pads in it and the hip pads and all that. You remember when we played, you had to thread your belt through the hip pad, like, and if you couldn't figure it out, like you were just screwed, buddy. Like these kids, some of these kids would not survive. Like just
even like putting in thigh pads. Like they got the girdles now with the built-in thigh pads. I guarantee you, half of them will come out with them just facing out, you know what I mean? Curve the wrong direction because you got to flip the pants, put it in backwards so that when you flip it back, it's the right way out. They couldn't handle that now. They couldn't.
And you got to take it all out to get it washed. If they washed, like how often do you think they washed clothes when we were in high school? I don't even remember.
maybe once a week.
Yeah,
Maybe.
like we watch
Maybe.
our kids every day, and I'm just sitting there like, I get it. They need to get cleaned. Like I know it's necessary, but we made it through, right? And they only watch
Yeah.
it, every couple days or
There's only a couple cases of like ringworm or
yeah,
whatever.
what don't kill you make you stronger.
Yeah.
Shoot.
They still
Man.
don't know how to take knee pads out because you find them in the dryer or whatever all the time. They just sit in the cart.
Don't get me started on that. Like we'll get so many knee pads lost, and then trying to keep tabs of, how many kids they owe you knee pads, or you got to make them do some extra work
Well,
to
and then
earn some
they're-
more knee pads.
Then they're like this black market of knee pads is created where like they're swiping them from, if you're playing on Thursday, they're swiping them from a varsity guy. Well, then that varsity guy comes in on Friday night and he's like, I don't have my knee pads. And so you go, look, there's like 6 pairs in this one JV kid's locker. And it's this whole vicious circle of everything.
That's the knee
Or-
pad plug.
Yeah.
Or the varsity guy goes back to the JV locker room and takes it from somebody else, and then
Yeah.
and then on Monday that JV kid don't have it, and it just goes
Yeah.
back and forth. Nobody
Yeah,
knows.
yeah.
The
And then they're
response is
stuck
always,
wearing the giant knee pad, the O-line from the 70s knee pads. I'm like, sorry, man, that's all we got.
the go-to quote is always, hey, somebody stole my knee pads. I don't know who somebody is, but they got every helmet in America from just about every high school program, a million knee pads. Like somebody's rolling in it because we never
yeah.
can figure out who that somebody is.
You'll have
Good
kids
Lord.
like lose their shoulder pads.
That's a first. Wow, you had that?
Multiple. Does it not happen all the time, Jack? I feel like it happens at least once a week. A kid's like, I don't know where my shoulder pads went. Well, I'm like, I ain't got them. I didn't take them. I don't know.
Somebody stole my shoulder pads.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm
Good
sorry, what?
Lord. How do you
Yeah,
misplace
no, they do it.
those? Good Lord. No, I don't think I've ever had that one. The weirdest thing that a kid lost that somebody apparently stole was, God, probably, it was like there was some kind of locket. I remember a kid had a locket of like his girlfriend, or I don't know, whatever it was. Somebody stole that.
They're serious.
I'm like, dude, nobody wants this little heart-shaped whatever that Sally got you for Valentine's Day. But yeah, we have the usual stuff. I feel like we got the knee pads and all that. Thankfully, the girdles.
Loops are a big one.
Loops
Somebody
are
took my
big.
loop. I don't know where my loop is. Okay, I'm sorry. Find it.
Yeah, not my problem. Not my problem. Yeah, the funniest part is the kids that have never played football before until they get to high school, and it's like, why'd you decide now? But whatever. Anyway, side note. But watching them try to get suited up for the first time, like full tilt, and the pads are just like they don't even have it like buckled all the way in for the shoulder pads, so it's just like rummaging around. Oh my gosh.
It's got like the squared off look on the jersey, like the old school shoulder pads. You know what I
Or
mean?
yes, or as they put the jersey on backwards, like over the pads.
Yeah, it's really tight on the neck.
Man. Yes.
And then you got the kids that like lose their jersey. Like I don't know about y'all. We just send them out to practice with a shoulder pad. Like you ain't got no
It'll
jersey.
be all right. Yeah,
Badge of honor. Y'all let them practice in that? No jersey on?
I will eventually get them like a number
Yeah.
68 or
No.
something. But
What's crazy is these kids are so dumb. I hate to say it, but they act dumb. They're not dumb. They act dumb. They will
Yeah,
steal
that's a better way
somebody's
to put it.
jersey. Like we didn't assign it based on a number thing, and they go out to practice. You see an offensive lineman wearing number 11. It's like I think he took your jersey, man. It looks like he's wearing number 11 to me, but whatever. They don't realize.
Bold strategy. I feel like
Yeah,
there were
no.
some numbers in high school that you just knew, like not to touch unless you fit the bill for it. Like single digit, you better be a dude, right? I don't know. I feel like fees for like an interior lineman or a linebacker maybe, but it hits a point, right? You don't want to see a linebacker in like 59 or something like that.
that don't fit. I say like 50 is probably, I don't know. Linebacker number 50 is probably as like high as it goes.
I'll give you up to 55. That's the max to me.
52 is a solid one. I don't think I've ever seen a linebacker in 53 that I can recall.
55?
54, Brian Urlacher.
That is true.
That's got some, but yeah,
54 might be the limit.
Like you said, you get above, about 54. It's kind of uncharted waters there. You got to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, it's getting a little dicey.
At Palmetto, was that your first time in a defensive coordinator role?
Yeah, that was my first time ever coordinating defense, and I remember I come in and I was like, all right, so I'm about to we're gonna run whatever we run at Clemson, like we're gonna put in Buffalo, we're gonna be able to check all these motions, and like we're gonna have it down. Like I got the system, and in the time leading up, I was going back over the playbook and just checking over everything. And I was like, I'm not gonna install everything that we did because I mean I think my senior year there we ran like over 100 different coverages and 80 different blitzes. So it was pretty like I mean it was pretty
We
high
have a hard
tech
enough
stuff.
time running. We have a hard enough time running 8 coverages. Like
Yeah,
and that might be pushing it.
yeah,
Like, yeah, we
Let them
got our
finish
checks
because it
and
got
stuff like
whittled
that, but
down.
yeah, oh yeah, oh
It got
yeah.
whittled
So I mean
down.
my first spring there, I'm like, we're gonna run like palms. We're gonna do 2 read. We're gonna be able to check the motion. So I started teaching it, and I got about 3 weeks into the spring, and I was like, this just ain't working. Like, this is not. We couldn't check the motion. I mean, we couldn't do it. So instead of just scratching it all to start with, I was like, all right, we're not gonna check, back to 2 read when they motion back to 2x2 or whatever. We'll just check cover 3. We can do that. Like with any motion, let's just check 3. Could do that. So I was like, all right, we're gonna run, cover 3. We're gonna run quarters. We're gonna run, we'll try to mix in some cloud every now and then, but it's gonna be basic, just basic. I mean, I just had to just throw everything out the window. It was done. It was done.
yeah, it's like when they say it's not necessarily what you do, it's like how you do it. And like, can you get the kids to do it? Because we have the same problem. Like, we'll get a motion or whatever, and it's just like we might have gone a month and it's finally starting to look clean and all that. But that first day you throw the motions out there, it's just like everything goes haywire.
Short
It's
circuit.
spewing, short circuit, man. Like it is nonstop. Like I'll never forget. We had this kid. He moved in his sophomore year. Heck of a football player in hindsight. But he came in late, so he's kind of behind the 8 ball, right? And so kind of installing stuff late in the summer, and August comes around, and maybe it was that first or second game. We're getting after somebody, beating him pretty good. I'm like, all right, hey, let's get this kid some spin. He was on varsity because he really helped us out on special teams immediately. And I'm like, let's get him some outside backer reps, some game reps, get some tape. We send him in, and the entire time he was with us since July that he moved here, he was repping outside linebacker and like only one side of the field outside linebacker. He goes in there on a Friday night in a game and tries to line up at like Mike backer. Like he's inside the box. Like, so we got 3 dudes. We're trying to run a 3-4 and we got 3 inside backers. And I'm up in the box and I am just cussing, like about to knock the glass out. And I'm hollering, we got to get him out. We got to get him out. And finally, we kind of made it through. We got to stop, and he comes over the sideline, and we're like, "Did you just forget everything you learned? Like, I mean, I know you're new, but come on, that's like blatantly, that's freshman football mistakes or junior high football mistakes." And he was like, "Yeah, that's on me. That's on me." I'm having flashbacks to my old school, and I'm like how? Like, but he's a heck of a football player, and he still plays for us, so I won't put his name out there, but heck of a player for us, and it all worked out in the end, but it was rough there at the beginning. Like you said, kids just the lights come on, and sometimes the lights up here kind of go out. Anyway, so you kind of learned you
Yeah.
had to simplify it. What were some stories you had about some struggles maybe you had, or just things that didn't go necessarily like you planned? Kind of like you talked about trying to get a lot of stuff installed in the spring.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things for me is whenever I took over as the DC. I'm still relatively young. I'm 27 right now, but I was 26 when I took over at the time. So I was probably, I think, behind like Coach Froge. I was like the second youngest guy on staff. So like, I mean, I was the young buck coming in, and just kind of having to balance the difference between working with people that's been doing it a lot longer than me, and not trying to come across as like a know-it-all, and still being open to suggestions and things like that, not just being like I'm doing it this way. Like, that's what we're doing. So that was kind of tough to balance, especially being 20 and working on staff with mostly guys that were older than me, and never really being kind of in charge of the side of the ball before. I was in charge of a position, but not the whole defensive side of the ball. So that was kind of a big adjustment that kind of I'm still working on it now. But yeah, that was probably the biggest thing in my first year that I kind of struggled with back and forth.
Yeah. I never really considered it until I just heard you say it. But you did come in, and your inside linebackers coach is like a 30-something year veteran, been a D coordinator, been a head coach, like done all these things. And then I never thought you had to deal with this young buck coming in. how to really navigate that. But no, and you can say his name. He don't have social media. He won't ever look at this. So
He'll have no
um,
clue. And then the
no, he'll
DB's
have no
coach
idea.
was there forever too. I mean, I think
Yeah,
the DB's coach at the time was there for like 10 years.
yeah.
And they were just kind of stayed on staff, so kind of pushing into that and kind of learn, how to navigate and, kind of get my point across on, what we're trying to do, but still being open to different things and things like that. And the guy that, Jack is talking about, he's been great. I mean, he's been like a super great mentor. He makes me think of things, like on Sundays and ways to relate it to the kids that they'll can understand it. Because a lot of times when I think of something or want to do something kind of different, I kind of overcomplicate it because that's just what I'm used to. Being at Clemson is kind of making it probably a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. And he's like, why don't you just do this? I'm like,
Yeah.
that works. Like, yeah, it's the same thing. I guess you're right. So yeah, that was one thing. And then kind of like, I guess like game management stuff is a little bit different. Because you never really feel like you're ready to do it until you like do it. I mean, I guess. So like when I first started off, I mean, I was like nervous. I mean, I was just like, I don't know. I probably had nightmares about people going out there and just hanging up 60 and then me just taking the blame. I did get 60 hung on me once. I'm not gonna lie. We were playing Pendleton. They hung up 61, and that was probably the only time I was ready for a game to be over. I mean, I was
Yeah, you
so
were
ready to get.
Man.
It was
so
bad.
distraught. I was like, oh man, it's good. It's good. There's
I,
another one next week, man. We good.
I thought it was over for me, man. It was rough. That was a rough game. But I don't know. We made some strides, and I feel like this younger group we got coming up has a shot to be really, really good. And you can kind of feel the tide turning a little bit over there. Just this semester in the weight room, I mean, the kids have been busting their tail. Like looking back on last summer, we lifted weights, but the weight room culture was just like not good. I mean, we were just kind of in there just to be in there. You really couldn't turn the kids loose on their own and expect them to do what they were supposed to do. Um, and one of our goals this spring was to try to change the momentum and kind of the mojo in the weight room and kind of set that standard on what we want it to look like. Because if we can set that standard in the weight room, then that's going to transition to the field and how we play. And not only is it going to affect football, but it's also going to affect every sport at Palmetto. Once you get that weight room standard set, I don't know. The last couple of weeks have been great, Jack. We've been able to turn them loose. They've been busting their tail.
Yeah.
We had a freshman that come in last year that couldn't lift anything. He maxed out at 440 on squat 2 weeks ago.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, young buck. Speaking of weight room, you seen any just like head scratching ideas from the kids? I don't know about y'all, but the very first time our kids get in the weight room, like when they're freshmen or whatever, they have a bad habit of, if they're at a platform and they're about to do cleans or something like that, or load up for deadlift, like they'll get one kid to like hold the bar up, and then two other kids are trying to like put the weights on. And so as soon as they put that first weight on, the bar just like flips.
Yeah.
Like y'all had anything like that? Tell me it's not just us.
We're
No.
still figuring out the tsunami bars. Like our kids cannot figure out that if you do not put the weight all the way up to the end of the tsunami bar and you just like put it on the end, like it is going to fly over. One of our coaches was over there the other day, and I looked up and I swear that tsunami bar might have went like 20 feet in the air because he just
Yeah.
put the weight on and he turned this way and like walked off, and the weight just flew like right behind him.
My
Yeah.
gosh.
It
My
was. Yeah.
gosh.
You see
That
some
shit,
weird
I'll be-
techniques from the freshmen too. They got some crazy things. You try to explain it to them, but they're in there like squatting. They're like bending their back down
Heck yeah.
instead of like
Just like you
squatting.
teach it.
doing a deadlift. We don't even do the deadlifts, but this is how they would do it if we could see it. I mean, just curl all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
Really
straight
shred
back.
everything in the back. That's what they say. Lift with your back, not your legs. But
Builds character,
kids
Golly.
built
Yeah,
different, man.
we had, for us, other than them loading and unloading the bars, them unloading the bars like that might be even worse because, as soon as you pop that 45 off or whatever, like that thing's going, like they're getting tilted. But just the way they load some weights sometimes. So we got our guys on timers. I don't know how y'all do it, but so I guess, when they're freshmen, they're just so worried about not making the time and having to do the extra push-ups or whatever that, they got to switch weights between guys. We try to group them as much by their strength level as possible, but there's still some variance. And, we might have a guy, the first guy at the platform might have a 25 on each side. And then that third guy in the group, he might need, 15 pounds more than that. They need to be putting a 45 on, but they don't want to take the time to slide the 25s off, throw the 45s on. So they'll just like keep stacking 10s.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like they'll have like 3 2.5s on one side and a 5 and a 2.5 on the other. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just,
bad.
what are we
Makes
doing?
me worry
guys?
about
What are
them
we
in
doing?
math class. Like, can y'all even add?
They can't. It's
No, they
rough.
can't. Or they'll ask you, they'll be like, hey, coach, my max, they'll just come up to you, hey, coach, my max is 135. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, what is that? I'm like, what do you mean, what is that? And they're like, what do I put on the bar? I'm like, okay, well, everything in here is numbered, man. The bar's 45, and you just add all these numbers up. You got this. I believe in you, you know? No, their math skills are not good at all.
Math is hard, man. Math is hard. And then I teach astronomy, and I still hear some things that it's an elective. It's meant to be kind of fun. We were talking about moons. We had a whole unit on moons, and they had to look
Where
up
is this
a
going?
moon. Oh yeah, I'm getting there. Just to tell you that math ain't the only subject they screw up. So they're doing this. They had to pick a moon in the solar system. I don't even know. And this one girl, she sits there. She's like halfway done with her project, or whatever, her little drawing diagram she's doing, and I could just see the light bulb goes off. And she kind of looks up. I'm like, everything all right? Like, you look like you're deep in thought about something. I thought the moons were inside the planets, and I just turned around and walked away, went and sat down. Yeah. So if you think they just screw up math, like, they screw up astronomy too.
She thought they were inside the planet.
She thought the moons were inside of planets. I'm like, look, I can go ask my 3-year-old, and he's going to know that that's not right. Like, I'm telling you, there's some characters out there. Yeah.
It's,
Characters out there.
it's not just the players that are bad at math, though. Sometimes the coaches are. One of our coaches, he likes to put 12 out on the field sometimes and play a couple plays with 12.
He talking about you, Jack?
Hey, it worked.
I can't
It
even remember
worked.
what happened.
We got through 3 plays with 12 guys. I say we do it every time. Every time.
Holy
Until they call
cow.
it. Why
I
not?
can't even.
Gotta
What happened? I can't even remember.
It was-
I can't even like. I think we
Someone
were in
got-
a dime.
Someone got hurt, came off, got subbed, and maybe then we went dime, and so they both went on, and we didn't take anybody else off. But we made it through like 3 plays, man. I
Pretty
mean,
sure we got to stop in the red zone with 12.
if it works,
and
it
then
works.
the refs never.
You know?
My gosh, those refs were just trying to get a check. They weren't.
Forgot
They
about
weren't
that.
trying to count players that night. Oh my gosh.
Well, our head coach
Yeah.
likes to remind us about math too, because you remember you were asking for a timeout, right? You were asking on the headset, timeout. Can I get a timeout? Can I get a timeout? He comes walking down the field. Only got 3. Okay, use 1. What are you talking about? Like, what? I even snapped back at him. I mean, in the game, I'm ready to go. I'm locked in, right? It may be different than what you see me outside of the game, but he said I only got 3, and I'm like, yeah, that's how they work, man. Call it, like, call the timeout. But whatever. No, don't get me started.
And then he did call a timeout, and then they ended up scoring. And he looked at me like it was like it was just a waste of a timeout.
All for nothing,
Yeah.
man.
We
All
ended
for
up
nothing.
winning, so winning.
Winning kind of covers up a lot of things. Shoot.
It does.
Speaking of the fans, the coaches in the stands, they always like to point stuff out too, but it's usually when things aren't going your way. You ever had you got a memorable fan story? I mean, as a defensive coordinator, I already know you probably get told tackle like every single snap. You just hear it echoing from the bleachers.
It's actually kind of crazy, but I feel like when I'm on defense, I don't really hear it as much. But I hear them being the offensive coaches more than I feel like I hear them being the defensive coaches. But I mean, we have fans in the stand that are like, "Run the ball, run it," and then we'll run it 3 plays in a row, and like we just get stuffed. And then they're like, "Why are we not throwing the ball?" Like, what? I'm like, you just said run it 3 plays ago. Now you're saying throw it. Which one is it?
God, they can't make up their mind. Jeez, we had these fans when I was in school, and it was a tight knit family, and they were Native American family, and you just kind of stood out, right? Just because it's largely Caucasian town, but or at least it was. I don't know how it is now, but anyway. And they were the loudest fans on Friday nights, and I'll just never forget. Like, they were just always hollering for their guy's name. I don't want to put his name out there, but let's just pretend like his name was Johnny. It wasn't, so nobody gonna try to look it up. But put Johnny in the game, give Johnny the ball, kill him, Johnny. Like, just get. So finally, I guess they raised enough cane where they weren't allowed to come back to the games no more. And I'll never forget, like, that next Friday night, they just pulled up in the bed of a pickup truck outside the fence along the street. And from the street, you hear them, give the ball to Johnny. Like, it's just some fans, man. Like,
I'm waiting for
super
Johnny to
fans.
have some kids that come through Palmetto because they were pretty big boys.
Yeah, they were. The DNA was strong in them. There was some
Yeah.
Jimmys and Joes in that family. But
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had a. It was kind of a similar situation, but there was a player's dad that ended up getting like banned from like the football stadium. This was before I got there for like 3 years. But he was like banned, like he just couldn't go. And this had nothing to do with JV or varsity, but I was at the middle school game, and like they had nobody around the clock. This was like post ban, like he's back, he's glad, he's happy to be back. Well, they had the audacity to come ask this guy if he would go run the clock, and I can't say on the podcast exactly what he said back to him, but he had some mince words, and it ended with "You banded me for blankety blank years, and you think I'm about to go run the clock?"
man, they came crawling back.
He did not run the clock.
Yeah.
He went back and stand on the fence.
I don't know about y'all, but sometimes, depending on where you go, certain places they do it right, and then some places they kind of struggle a little bit. They're kind of lackadaisical. Man, we would go and play, and it's always the sub-varsity games, right? It's always your freshmen and JV teams and the B teams usually that it just comes out. But has there ever been any just like blatant clock mismanagement that you can remember? Whether it was in a Thursday night game or a Friday night game, because I can just remember a few that come off the top of my mind.
Oh yeah, we were playing. I ain't gonna say the school because it's kind of local.
That's
but
fine.
We were playing a
Put
JV
them on
game.
blast. Put them on
And-
blast.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It was in Iva. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were playing. We were playing in Iva, and it was a JV game. And I don't know. Do you not remember that, Jack? But they ran, and the clock was supposed to be stopped. They were running like 4 minutes at a time at the whole second half, and it was like a close game. I mean,
Yeah.
it just kept running. And I
Yeah.
remember you like a couple times. You were just like glancing up, and you just lost it. You were just yelling across the field at the refs, and they were just like, I don't know, like nobody ever said anything. They just ran the clock out. I mean,
That's what drives me crazy. Like, I know being a ref is a hard job, but is something as big as the clock? How do you not notice?
Especially when everybody in the bleachers can see that it is not getting handled right.
Yeah.
Like,
We're
how
all
do you think you're
yelling
gonna get away with that?
If
Yeah.
everybody's yelling at me, I'm gonna look at what they're talking about and be like, all right, maybe I am wrong. Let me double check. But no, they just let it roll. They just let it roll.
Jeez.
Don't
Nah,
get me started.
what pops up to mind for me, like y'all were talking about, it's a Thursday night game. So our two freshman teams were in different locations because whoever we were playing that Friday didn't have two. But anyway, so I go with the freshman A team game, get that game knocked out. And then they were going to start the freshman BT game at this other school. It's like a 15-minute drive away, but it was going to start later so that coaches can kind of get over there. We sent some coaches with just them, probably two of them, and then another 4 or so we're going to go join them later on. So we win the A-team game, hopping in my personal car. I'm driving down the road to get to the game. And, thinking that, the game's probably maybe halfway through the first quarter. They just got kicked off. Like, it'll all be good. I pull up. It is already halftime because literally they just click the button and it's like somebody just walked away. Like, they
Ran
just
it like a soccer
let it go.
game. They just
Yeah, I'm like,
hit it
why
and
did
quit it.
why did we even schedule this game if we're not even gonna like get? I don't know about y'all. We have to get all of our sub-varsity kids at least one snap in the games on Thursday nights. And so, we had a team of our B team might have had like 80, 90 kids that year. Like, you need all the time you can get to get those kids I call it their government issued snap. But so I got there and it was already halftime. I'm at the linebackers group and I'm like, all right, raise your hand if you hadn't played yet. And like all the 2s and 3s hadn't played yet. And I'm just like, good Lord, we about to make miracles happen, guys. Y'all are playing nose guard. You're playing end. Like, we're going to make something happen. You're getting your snap. But it's like, how do some people think that that's the right way to handle it? Like, whether it's sub-varsity or not, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, yeah. Well,
I'll
let me
tell you
tell
another. No, you go
Sorry.
for it. Go for it.
All right, so I wasn't coaching yet. Our head coach, though, Roland, you've heard me tell this story. Coach Norton was still at his previous school, And, my significant other was working at the school they were playing, right? And I'd help out when I could, they need the hands, whatever. So I'm running the play clock, okay? Just to tell you a little bit about clock operators at some of these games. So dude's running the clock beside me. I'm running the play clock. Norton and his other coaches are heading up to the top of the booth. And it's about to be halftime. It's a one-sided game. They're winning. The other team's winning. And they're trying to score. It's not out of reach yet. I mean, it's getting up there, but it's not even halftime yet. You don't pump off the brakes yet or take a foot off the gas yet. They yelled down because the clock guy didn't stop it, right? He didn't take too kindly to that. Okay, so he yells something back, and I'm not going to go through every dialogue, every word that was said, but it was like, go something about goats, like go feed a goat or something. And if you know where Coach Norton came from, it's not really a farming community anyway, but whatever. Keeps going, and this dude becomes irate and like stands up and it's like yelling at the coaches up top, be like, all right, come down here and do something about it. Come down here and do something about it. Walks out of the press box. And this is the first time I've seen Coach Norton since my probably freshman year of college, right? And so we caught up a little bit, and then all this is going on in the background. And I'm like, all right, they're about to fight. Second half's about to start, though, so let me just get this clock good, and then I'll turn around and watch the rest of it. They're yelling back and forth, back and forth. Finally, the clock operator gets kicked out, and I took over the game clock for him and ran it very well, if I must say. But anyway, that was kind of my last bump in with Coach Norton before he hired me, and so we always kind of tell that story and laugh about it. But no, these clock operators now, they can be crazy, all right? So be careful.
Yeah, because usually they're getting paid a little stipend too, so it's like you're getting a flat rate. You don't care how long the game goes. Like you're going to sit there and try to knock that thing out in 30 minutes, like if you can.
I mean, that needs to be a certified position. Like clock operaters need training.
There
Should be
needs
a
to be some
referee,
training.
right?
Yeah, needs to be some training.
Think about the people you're putting up there in the press box for running these
Yeah.
clocks.
Oh, it's bad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll never forget. It's basketball, so unrelated to football. So basketball is my second sport, and I usually do a sub varsity just because not a huge basketball background or anything like that. So we go to this place that they're a traditional basketball powerhouse, and we're playing. I was coaching the JV basketball team that year, and they had this guy, like he was about 5'2". I can guarantee he never played basketball, but like you would have thought he was John Wooden or somebody, like the way he carried himself. And their JV team was like undefeated that year, mainly because they got like 6'6" kids playing JV basketball.
Yeah.
And like just flooring everybody to play. I knew we weren't going to win. But we're just trying to go get the game in, right? Well, we get there, play the first half, and we're down a little bit or whatever. We're down enough for me to be like, all right, it's going to kind of get out of reach. Well, halftime comes around, and their coach comes walking over me. First of all, he's wearing this giant chain that is probably bigger than he is. And he comes just walking up, shoulders all dieseled up, Again, he's only like 5'2". So like I'm looking down at him. Coach, we got junior night. Do you mind if I put 20 minutes on the halftime clock? Normally halftime for a sub-varsity basketball game is 5-7 minutes tops. So he's trying to put 20-25 minutes on the clock for halftime. I'm like, for real? Like, first of all, what is junior night? The dude like took it upon himself to create this like senior night, but it's junior night for his juniors that are on JV. And he needs 25 minutes. He's going to bring them out. He's going to walk them up. He's got him a little gift basket. And the guy's basically in charge of the whole gym by himself. He was coaching the game, like jumping up and down, doing all that. I swear he was running the clock. Obviously, he's setting the halftime clock. And so they go through. Well, the funniest part was like all these people in the crowd, and we're in the back gym. Like we're not in the main gym or anything like that. So, it's pretty crowded little back gym because just there's not that many rows in the bleachers. And the parents are all talking because it's halftime, whatever, right? And so he walks up and he says, "Hey," they're all still talking. "Hey, like I'm trying to do something here." And so everybody kind of quiets down. And he just kind of walks through, says each kid's name, and does their whole deal, gives them the goodie bags and all that stuff. Dude, it took 3 minutes off the clock. So there were still 22 minutes left on the halftime clock. So I'm just sitting over there like, I've already said I don't ever have more than like 2 or 3 minutes worth of stuff to talk about basketball-wise at halftime. And so now we got 22 minutes apparently that we got to wait to play the second half of this game. That's probably not going to work out in our favor anyway. But like you said, like we need somebody who's sanctioned, trained, and they need to be running a clock at events.
Absolutely.
Good Lord. Yeah. So, trying to think of where we can kind of go there. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know we're kind of approaching the 45-minute mark here. I know you guys are an hour ahead too, but is there any kind of stone we hadn't turned over yet? I mean, we're always down to go and do another episode in the future, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We covered a good bit, but there's always more stories for tonight or another night. But I don't know. I'll come back anytime. I enjoyed it.
heck yeah. No, I
Let's get
appreciate
some
it, man.
crazy kid stories. That's what I want. That's what I know.
right.
You got good ones.
Man, I'm trying to even think of some of the stuff that I'll say. I don't know. So like when I was at Woodmont, I had this one kid who had like autism, and he did whatever he wanted. But he was like, in gen ed. I mean, like he was getting a high school diploma. He was highly functionable. He could kind of do whatever he wanted. And he ended up bringing like he had an obsession with like mask. So it was like I don't even know what it was. It was like the craziest little. It was like the real like Halloween like type mask. You know what I'm talking about?
He ain't bringing that
Yeah.
into
Like,
school.
No,
Ain't no
that's
way.
spooky stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, that was already like a no. Like, hey, don't wear the mask. Like, if you wear the mask, it's like it's done. And there had already been some stuff going on with him earlier. This was like later in the year, maybe like April. Well, he brought his mask to school anyways, and the administrator took the mask. She was like, "You're not getting it back. It's mine. I'm keeping it." I can't remember if he went to the S. I'm pretty sure that he called 911 on the administrator, saying that she stole his mask.
They come,
Jeez.
or did they just call the SRO?
SRO. SRO had to pull him, and I think he got suspended. I can't even remember how many days.
That's
He got a nice little vacation, but yeah, he was out for a while. He never got the mask back. It was done.
That principal's probably wearing it on Halloween now. You know what's crazy to me, Adam? Do y'all let kids wear hats at school?
Nah, you're not allowed to wear. We technically they're not allowed to wear hoodies, or we have a uniform policy, so they have to be in a collared shirt,
Jeez.
and khakis.
Wow.
And
Right.
it is super strict until you hit about high school, and then it kind of like early on in the year, like super strict on it. But yeah, as the year kind of goes on, you got to pick and choose your battles of what you want to police that day. And
Oh, absolutely.
so, and it gets super cold in the winter and all that. So there are some times where they kind of give some leeway and stuff, but no hats. Why?
They let these kids wear hats to school.
Eesh, that's a far cry.
And I know that's like such a small thing, but it feels like such. Like when we were in school, no. Like you
You
walked in
couldn't
with a
wear a
hat
hat.
on,
Yeah.
it snapped.
No. Well, you remember phones in schools back in the day. Like you had to get real good. Of course, we had buttons. You had to get good at like
Yeah, you had to
texting
text
in your pocket.
Yeah.
In the
with
pocket,
the-
you're firing the text. You had to read it real quick, and then you got the buttons memorized. And so
Yeah,
you're
you're
trying to
sitting
get
there
that
counting
text
like
up.
press 2-3 times. All right, that's C.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. You had to remember like the code. You just had it down
Yeah.
like by your side, and you were just like typing. You had to hit like 3-4 times, and then you had to go back and hit 8 a couple times.
Yeah.
So
Just
forever.
like I'd ask whoever if they want to sit together at lunch. Whoever. Like
Yeah.
my love interest at the time, whatever. Just texting her a little heart emoji, old school emoji with the what is it? The less than and the 3. You put them
Yep,
together.
the old school ones, the pre-emoji days. No, I got kids now that, hey, can I go out in the hallway? I gotta make a phone call, and I'm like, no, like you're not supposed to have your phone like
Yeah, what do you
out
think
and
this
about at
is?
school or whatever. Oh, well, can I go to the bathroom? Like, are you going to the bathroom to make a phone call? Like, because I
Yeah.
can't let you do that. But like, yeah, they're bold these days.
At
But
least
no, we
try.
hadn't had hats.
Yeah.
Like give me the courtesy of lying at least. Like don't ask them back to back. Don't be stupid.
Yeah. Be smart. Go sit down for
ask
5
if you're
minutes.
going to the bathroom. And then,
Yeah,
what-
exactly.
how do I hate to say it that way, but like, don't ask, can I make a call? I say no. Well, can I go to the bathroom then? No. Well, can I get water then? Like, come on, man. Do better. Do better.
Well, and the hard part for us is, so our school district has its own virtual academy. We have our own virtual school, and if you're in high school, you can do what's called a flex schedule, where you take whatever classes you want in person on campus, take whatever classes you want virtual. If you got athletics, you can just take all virtual and show up for athletics. But it makes it so tough to like keep tabs on like who's supposed to be where. Are you supposed to be in the building right now? Are you supposed to be like, taking your virtual class at the house? And so then you got kids that they've been wearing their pajamas all day because they're taking all their classes all day or whatever. And then they got this one astronomy class or something in the afternoon. So they try to show up and then they get all huffy puffy that they can't wear their pajamas in the building. It's like, you knew where you were going. Like, why don't you just take virtual astronomy? Because I know that's an option too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or just, get dressed. Like, what are you doing?
Or just put some pants on. Like, how hard is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. These kids are bold, man. They're
Dude,
bold.
they've gotten so relaxed with the rules, it feels like. And it's not just, I just feel like it's across the board everywhere. They've just gotten so relaxed with it. Now,
it's everywhere.
South Carolina has that new law about no phones in school, whatever. So it's not us making that rule. So kids can get over it. But no, they've gotten so relaxed on them. They don't know how hard it is to, at least try to hide it.
Yeah, you used to have to be crafty about how you could get away with stuff.
Yeah,
That was a
crafty
sign.
about everything. They just don't care. I mean, they just
Nah.
they
No,
gonna
they
do it.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
They're
don't
gonna do
care
it.
at
They
all.
don't care.
They do not care.
Well,
Let me ask you this. All right, I've been asking my kids kind of like a poll. I did the Gatorade flavor. I asked the kids the Gatorade flavor question. Well, first, let me get Coach Rowland. What is your favorite Gatorade flavor?
All right, so the other day, me and you kind of had a conversation about it, but I changed it because I remember what I used to get all the time. And I really don't drink Gatorade that much anymore. I do occasionally, but dude, this is like off the wall stuff right here.
Hit me with
The
it.
strawberry.
Is that
we talked about strawberry.
like the pink?
Yeah, it was fierce strawberry, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pink.
It's like the dark, like it's like a
Yeah.
dark pink. I don't know.
That was a
Yeah.
good one.
It hits different. I like
That's a
that.
good one.
That's definitely, up there at the top. And then lemon lime. I'm a lemon lime guy. You can't go wrong with a little yellow Gatorade.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it.
But strawberries different.
Have you ever had Riptide
So
Rush?
are you a colors guy or are you a flavors guy?
Yeah.
I have had Riptide Rush. It's all right. It's just
Come
all right.
on, man.
Mid.
All
It-
right, you can
yeah.
cancel that. You
Riptide
can-
Rush
you can
is
end
pretty
this.
good. I kind of like it. I just hadn't had it.
Now, do you call them by
Dude,
the
I will
flavor
tell
name
you
or the
this, though.
color? Do you say
I mean,
Riptide
if I
Rush
know
or
the
White
if I know the color, like I don't really know like what Riptide Rush looks like, so I probably wouldn't go with that. But like if it's like red, I know that's fruit punch.
You just do it.
If it's
either way?
orange, it's orange.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I do it both ways. It just depending on if I know what the name is, it's on a first name basis because I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
If I don't,
Now,
then it's just the color.
do you know what the kids
But no,
they voted? What do you think they voted on? They're the best Gatorade flavor.
the kids,
The kids.
dude, it's probably something crazy. Is it something crazy like you wouldn't think of? Or
No.
it's like
No,
pretty-
it's pretty. How do I put this? Classic answer.
Blue.
I was about to say
close.
fruit punch.
Fruit punch was second. Light blue
All right.
was number one. Light blue. Cool
Light blue.
was third.
Is that the frosted?
Yeah.
Frosted?
Yeah.
Is
Right?
It's
I don't know about
Interesting.
the frosted.
Light
These kids have
blue.
no taste. These
I
kids
haven't
have
had one of those in years. Nah.
No, so I put a new one up. So this, I guess the rest of this week's will be. I asked them if they like TikTok or Instagram Reels better. What do y'all think?
Probably said reels.
But what do you like?
It's gotta be TikTok.
What do you like TikTok better, or you like Instagram Reels?
If I'm gonna scroll for a while, it's gonna be on TikTok. But sometimes you do get like in the rabbit hole on reels. Like if one just pops up,
Yeah,
like you accidentally click on a reel, and then next thing
Yeah.
you know, you are like just stuck on a reel for like consecutive hours. You just
Dude,
kinda,
my reels are unhinged. Like it's nothing
Yeah.
but White
It get-
Monster, Zens, Creed. Like it gets off the walls.
you
in
got to be
mine.
careful with Reels. It gets dark quick. Like before you know, it just takes a dark turn, and then you're like, "How did I get here?" It's like Twitter. You got to be careful on Twitter. You're like searching from something.
Yeah, you
got
got to be real careful on Twitter.
and you hope nobody's looking over
Yeah,
your
that's right.
phone because you don't
Ever
know what's
since-
going to come up. But
Ever
they
ever
said
since
TikTok.
Elon bought Twitter, like I feel like it is just TikTok. Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
I
I
thought
like
TikTok
Reels.
was kind of dying out, but
I like Reels because it just feels more like targeted. Like I get a bunch of PE teacher ones; they're funny to me, so I guess that's why I like them better. But I
Yeah.
don't know.
I feel like I look up like a lot of like how to do something like on TikTok or like recipes
Yeah.
for dinner.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I'm a golfer too, so like I'm out there just looking on TikTok, and it's probably some guy that can't even hit the ball. I mean, I don't even know who this guy is, but he's out there. He's out there teaching me how to hit a draw. It ain't
Oh, yeah,
work yet,
man.
but I just keep watching.
Well, the guy we were talking to last night, he's got a pretty big Instagram and TikTok following and stuff, and he said he had the UFL reach out to him. He's in Japan now, but he had the UFL reach out to him simply because they saw some of his content. That's how he first got noticed by him. They see him on like Instagram or something, so they go get some of his tape from the Japanese league, and it's like, man, there's something to be said for putting yourself out there. But yeah, it's like you're putting a lot of faith. Yeah, I'm running a UFL roster, and just because I saw something on Reels or TikTok or whatever, now we're gonna do a little deep dive, but I don't know. It's a strange world we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I use both of them. So.
Yeah. I have to use both of them now at this point.
What about Facebook?
Dude, I catch myself
Facebook
on
videos
Facebook all the time. I'm worried about myself.
I don't think I've ever watched a Facebook video. I don't really get on Facebook.
Dude, I'm a big Marketplace guy.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Now, we have a coworker who loves
I like
Facebook.
Marketplace.
Like, loves Facebook. Don't think too hard. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, we do. Like, it's insane the amount of time this person spends on Facebook. It's crazy.
It's like, I want to see that screen time breakdown, but.
And then they send you like a Facebook thing, and it's like from like this private like group, and you can't even you click on it. It's like the link is unable to be open because you're not in the group, and then you still just respond and put something, but like you gotta respond, but.
Just could pretend like I saw this, like I watched the whole thing.
Dude, our head coach does no social media.
No.
None.
Bold strategy.
He also does not have like a YouTube TV or a cable account.
What does he do?
Wow,
that's what I don't understand.
I think he's like Netflix. That's him. Like that's what he does.
He's saving some money on the subscriptions. I'll give him that.
Yeah. It adds up quick, man.
I think he gets into like the shows. I think he stays on the shows. Like he's just on to the next one.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Speaking
I'm
of
the
shows,
kind of person,
you guys,
I repeat the same thing every night. I watch the same show every night.
Y'all are Clemson guys. So have y'all watched Love on the Spectrum on Netflix?
I haven't seen it.
I've seen clips.
Season
clips.
Season 3 is a pretty good watch. Now, again, I was worried when I first cut it on that I'm going to be laughing for all the wrong reasons, right? But it's actually a pretty solid show. But the dude that lives at Clemson is they showed him. Yeah, they showed him living in his dorm and stuff. And I want to go hang out with those guys. They seem like they have a great time. Like just some guys being dudes eating cheese sandwiches. Like
that reminds me, Roland, you got to talk about your man at some point. Come on.
So when I was at Clemson, I worked with Dave, and we were in like a couple little Clemson videos. You know Dave Seville that like works with the football team, right?
Yeah.
So me and Dave are close. I actually spent so much time with him that I can mimic exactly how he sounds. But it's actually insane.
It's really good, actually.
But I took him on a couple trips to Charleston, and I took him fishing, and I don't know. I give him a hard time, but he gives it right back. His family actually owns some land up in Georgia, and I've been up there hunting and stuff. And yeah, so we had a pretty good relationship all throughout. It was a good time.
Dude's got a heck of a 3-pointer too. Dave can freaking wet some shots, man. I'm not kidding.
Really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I really don't know how he does it because his form is not there. Not to speak on my. The kids hate on my form anyways. They say I shoot with one hand, but
yeah. You've seen these kids in the PE class before? They can't shoot either. I don't know why.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, dude, you're talking about my form, and I've been watching you shoot for 30 minutes, and you haven't made a shot.
You travel every time you get the ball, and you ain't even made it to a shot yet. What are you talking about?
It's unbelievable. At some point, sometimes I feel like these kids think they're way more athletic than they actually are.
They need to be humble.
Not necessarily the athletes, but I'm just talking about your just regular like gym kids.
Yeah, they need to be humbled. Yeah,
big time. And I'll be the first one to do it. I don't care.
Somebody's got to. That's your college.
Yeah. Come on, man. Like there's a clip somewhere. Y'all saw it the other day where I tried to humble a kid and actually ate it on the gym floor. I'll show you the video later. But Roland, you've seen it. But it doesn't always go to plan. Like, okay, for instance, we had this cool putt unit planned, right? We had donors donate this stuff. By the way, donorschoose.org. Feel free to give me some money. But they purchased a lot of this putt-putt stuff for us. And so I was excited. We're going to have this putt-putt course. I spent like 4 hours setting it up in the gym, whatever. Let me tell you about this class, man. They come in. Within 2 minutes, club is broken. I mean, the head is just falling off. And, 2 seconds later, I see people just throwing these little foam golf balls at each other. 5 seconds later, they're trying to drive off this little chipping mat with a putter across the gym, about to just nail little Jenny in the face, whoever. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. That's cool. Whatever. Let's switch it up. So I holler at them, all right, y'all sit down, put it up, sit down. Switch up. We going outside, baby. Let's run that mile. Let's get it. 85 degrees today. It's nice and toasty too. That UV's good. Let's go. All right.
What do they call it in teaching? Monitor and adjust.
I mean, you
Monitor
play
and
stupid
adjust,
games,
baby.
you're going to win stupid prizes. And
And I'm not gonna lie, I went and saw the course. It was well thought out. I'm not kidding you. The putt-putt course, like if I was in high school, I would have been all over it. I mean, how many holes was it?
I only made it to 9. I ran out of noodles, so
It was a solid course. I mean, you had to really think through it. Like it took a lot of time and effort to put in it, and then
my hamstrings were burning from just bending down to like tape the noodles to the floor. Like that took 4 hours of my day to do this for you.
and it
and you're
only
gonna
took
do that.
it only took them 10 minutes.
Blew
Now
up in
my
your
other
face,
classes
man.
did great with it, but that one class, man, you know who you are. You know who you are. I'm talking to you. Act right.
There's always
Well,
that one. Well, shoot, Camden, you on social media? I know we just talked about how y'all's boss man is not, but if anybody's out there listening that wants to get in touch with you, whether it be about football or figuring out, I don't know, how to make a single wide trailer work as a locker room, what's some good ways they can reach out to you?
It's just my name, Camden Rowland. Twitter, Instagram. I'm on it all pretty heavily.
Heck yeah, man. Well, we appreciate your time tonight.